Thanks, Goose. You can never have just one more turn of civilization, because 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 400. This is the Sid Meier strategy sinkhole, and we're going all the way in.
In the twilight of Earth's great civilizations, we were chosen.
What's ours is yours, for a price.
Civilization Beyond Earth is more than just a space-age Civ skin. Developed by Firaxis Games, this is a genuine attempt to rewrite some of the old rules in a fresh sci-fi setting.
Yes, after 5 games exploring the history of Earth, it's now time to forge a brave new world in deep space. You start by picking a leader for your spacefaring expedition, each one representing a different culture of Earth.
В простых словах, пожалуйста.
Then you choose your colonists, for instance, whether they should be scientists or artists. Next, you select your spacecraft's tech, with each one having a starting perk, like being able to see coastlines or particular resources. And lastly, your cargo, which starts you with a bonus unit or tech advance. I really liked having to make all these little decisions right at the start and stress over them. It gave me a clear agenda. We're going to this new planet, get on board, artists, we're going to teach these aliens some culture.
I think I took aristocrats, a lifeform sensor, and a soldier, so not the friendliest landing party. After touching down and establishing your outpost, your first explorer can push back some of that fog of war to see what's lurking nearby on this strange new world. And usually it's a swarm of giant insects.
Yes, these are the planet's indigenous aliens, who are a constant problem to all the human settlers in the game. They make the barbarians of Civ 5 seem quaint. They infest the planet and you're always having to deal with them.
Yeah, and those big siege worms that pop up out of the ground, they're savage if you annoy them. While the aliens are a threat, they're actually relatively neutral. They only get aggressive if you're near a nest or if you start killing them in great numbers.
I felt bad bombarding those peaceful alien whales. But hey, that's progress.
I think the aliens are one of the most interesting new dynamics to this Civ, and that's because they tie into this whole affinity system. As you expand and develop your colonies, your scientific research earns you points towards either harmony, where you become one with the aliens and their planet, purity, where you strive to maintain your humanity, or supremacy, where you embrace cybernetics and AI. Pursuing all of these is really interesting.
Yeah, I like that you can steer towards one of these affinities and then change tack. It's still better to focus down on one though. And that's because each affinity has its own victory to chase. And to get there, you need to fulfill lots of little quest objectives.
I like the way these deploy a little bit more narrative into the game. They can be anything from needing to explore a ruin, to performing covert ops on a city, or to develop a specific technology. And there are those quest decisions too.
Yeah, you do feel like you're shaping victory on your own terms. There are still 2 universal victories: wiping everyone out, or winning a scientific race, which in this game is about building a communications beacon for contact.
All human history has led us to this point.
But now with the Affinity Victories, there are 5 ways to win, which opens up the game so much more.
I like how the military units evolve visually to reflect your affinity. The Harmony troops start to look a little bit insectoid, for instance. All 3 affinities end up looking quite different from each other as they gain their perks and upgrades.
Which is good, because everyone has the same sort of units, really, in terms of their function. There is another thing to worry about, though: the orbital layer. This lets you launch satellites to do things like harvest energy, or provide defensive bonuses. I tended to neglect this side of the game a bit though, Hex. It just didn't seem that crucial to make use of it.
You can gain some hefty benefits from using satellites, but I know what you mean, it feels like it could have been used for more. Elsewhere, there's a new virtue tree which works a little bit like social policies did in Civ 5. Here you can direct your colony to focus more on things like industry or knowledge. Again, it's about letting you tweak how your Civ develops.
Yeah, and I love having another menu of little decisions to make. And Beyond Earth certainly feels like a busier game in that respect.
You know, maybe my expectations for this game were a little bit wild, but I was kind of expecting something a bit more epic in scale.
Me too, and underneath it all, it really does feel like more of a variation on Civ 5 rather than a new game type. You're still going through the same motions: building workers, managing food output, trading resources, building up armies to fight small wars, and yet again engaging with stubborn and inflexible AI opponents.
Imposible.
Nunca.
Where are the intelligent alien leaders, or a self-aware AI, or a race of cats? It's a bit of a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and I thought there'd be more variety of, like, cool alien planets to play on. But it's essentially the same planet each time, with the same bug aliens, the same resources and environmental factors to navigate. Obviously you can change the landmass size, and there are some slight aesthetic options, like a bit more fungus, more tropics, or more desert. But I guess I just expected to enjoy a little bit more discovery.
Yeah, maybe it was a balancing issue, keeping the same planet and the same set of parameters for each game. It does look great though, with its toxic miasmas and open fissures.
I love how your pioneering civilization barge orders the suburbs of Sydney. Oh no, Hornsby's under attack.
I found it lovely down in Bondi this time of year. I just find it easy to navigate all of the cities when you put them in some sort of geographical sense. Pro tip.
Defending cities is now more streamlined, which is good. They all have a ranged attack by default, which can totally save your bacon. And cities earn a defense rating based on a variety of factors, not just on what unit you garrison there.
I love how tense it gets just before you take on an opposing neighbouring city by force. Building up your armies on the border, as if they don't notice. And then, yep, we're going to war, sucker! I also really like the technology tree.
Yes. And it's a proper branching tree of research possibilities, not a linear evolution of technology like in Civ 5. It's definitely more challenging to explore, and it should make it that much harder to predict what your opponents are up to.
Yes, I wish they'd been as brave with the rest of the Civ formula. But even so, even with all my little gripes, I still enjoyed playing this. I just love Civilization. And I think there's just enough new stuff to keep Civ feeling fresh for some time, so I'm giving it 8.5.
I think we'll need to play a lot of Beyond Earth to learn its true subtleties. It is a little bit more predictable than I was expecting, but I think we can look forward to some interesting strategic tussles with that Affinity system. So I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
And now here's Dave.